laundry supplies in here, but it's not just for that, it's just for keeping stuff away. So these here are drying racks, so you can absolutely use them for laundry. We tend to use them more for making candles, so we'll like drape them over that and let them dry that way. They're basically just drying racks.
You guys, you guys make candles here.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, today's a little bit of a weird day. Again, it's beginning of our opening, so we're still kind of getting into the rhythm of things. It's mostly on weekends where we tend to do a lot of our stuff.
Events.
You've got it, yeah.
But candles are a weekday thing, like a normal day thing, you guys?
Sometimes. Mostly now we do it on weekends, only because we've been getting booked a lot for school programs and other events for the week. So for today, for example, we had 2 school programs and we're running a knitting thing as well. So
yeah, I saw today was knitting. And what would they be using this for?
That's actually mostly for a laundry paddle. So you would use that here for stirring your laundry, things like that.
So this was the washing machine.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And that was the thing that stirs it about.
You got it, yeah. Now that being said, again, today we get hung up on very specific uses, like this has to be a laundry paddle.
Okay.
But we have to remember, a lot of these they're making them themselves. If they need a paddle for something else, they're
soup or
use
something.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, they would have special ones for each one, absolutely.
But they made a lot of tools out of wood.
Yes, it's a readily available material. They have
not so much rock.
No. Too much effort that way, and then a lot harder to work with, all that fun stuff.
Because I saw the sludge hammer in the basement.
Oh yeah.
It looked like there's a big hammer kind of thing.
Oh yeah. So there are.
What do they use that for?
Good question, actually. Yeah. General farm labor, I'm assuming. Yeah.
And what are these here for?
Variety of things in there. You've got seed in there. We've got corn in some of them. We've got Apfelschnitz in some of them.
What are the Apfelschnitz?
It's basically just dried apple slices.
Are we able to try?
Yeah.
They're eatable by now?
Yeah. It's eat at your own risk. They're a little dry, but we make them here every year. These are.
They're eating well, so they didn't eat any GMOs.
No.
That's the life, brother.
Well, to be fair, they did eat. A lot of people don't realize how much preservative was in their food. Preserving food is always a big concern back in this time period. We think of like modern preservatives, nitrates, things like that, as it being a modern problem. Not that far away. In the 1800s, early 1900s, you can buy a bucket full of sodium nitrate. You can buy.
Could you?
Oh yeah. And so when you're making your own sausage and stuff like that, you just take scoops of it. They call it the saltpeter, that one specifically, and you just put scoops of these different preservatives into your food. Yeah.
Sodium nitrate. So sodium nitrate, is it like a pure form of salt, or what is it?
That's a very good question. I'm not sure exactly what it is.
Because they say salt is good to preserve food, right?
Yes. Oh no, they use a lot of salt. Yeah. But then they found that if they started using these other chemicals, that it would keep even better. And that one was that was very readily available, widely readily available, and relatively inexpensive as well. And it worked really well.
Yeah.
Any meat that you had up until I'd even say the 1940s and 50s was chocked full of saltpeter or sodium nitrate, but it's really bad for you. There are studies that link it to cancer. There are studies that link it to impotency. There are studies, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
All right.
It was chocked full of it though.
so the world has never been perfect, basically.
No. And even another museum I worked at, we had some ketchup bottles from 1913, Heinz ketchup bottles.
Heinz.
And they're already advertising the fact that they're removing certain preservatives from their food because people are already aware that they've been experimenting with certain preservatives, and some of them aren't so good. So they started to take them out. And the one that they're advertising, we still use in food. So they took it out of their ketchup in 1913, but we still use it in food today. It's one of the biggest preservatives.
What's the name of that one?
Sodium,
BHT?
No, benzoate. Sodium benzoate.
And it's bad?
Yes. Yeah.
So benzoate, get that. Make sure you don't take that one.
Well, the thing is, if you want to keep it all, you need to put something in it. So it's one of those weighing it on 2 hands and deciding. You need your food to last.
Yeah.
Everything's bad for you.
Unless you're a farmer and you make it yourself and you make sure you eat it and you sell the rest or something.
See, a farmer's it's good, but then the problem becomes winter. Because what do you do with your food in winter? You gotta preserve it somehow.
Yeah.
And so you either try to full of preservatives and dry it out, or you pickle it, which causes its own problems too. Pickling, I think, is better, but hey.
So preserving food is basically a Viking tradition.
Oh, it can be. Yeah. It's
Northern Europe tradition,
all cultures,
the Eskimos and
They
everything.
need to keep their food somehow. You have periods of plenty and periods of little, and you need to make sure that when you don't have enough food, that you can, go back to the time when you had a little bit more, and that's when you preserve it.
What room room was this?
This we call, in the dialect, they call it the Speisekammer, and it's basically their pantry. And it looks very large, but when you figure that this is a family of 10, and they need to preserve all of their food in the fall to last the winter, this actually isn't representative of how much they need. They need even more than this.
Yeah. How many people lived on the farm?
In 1856, there were 10. So mom and dad and 8 children. And that was a small family.
So they were getting at it quite a bit. It wasn't a matter of not doing it.
There were families at that time of the same religious background, of the same families that came up that had 17 kids.
Yeah.
So this family had, half of what most families had.
Yeah. They had a lot of farm work.
Yeah, true. That is what most of the kids are for back then, that's for sure.
And these are their pots. Are these really the pots, or did you find them later to put in the house?
Most of the stuff here, including furniture, is all later. And that's mostly because, again, the house was sold out of the family for a while and was converted, and there's been quite a few people in and out of this home. So most of it is from the period and from the area, but not from the family.
Was it ever an abandoned house with an owner?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a period, actually closer to the 1960s and 70s, where it was vacant for quite some time.
Just vacant, and were the windows getting smashed by people?
Well, a couple, but people were keeping an eye on it.
What was this?
This is just a pantry, so a storage for different, so flour, for instance, and things like that.
Flour. Would they keep it in a bag or just have it like that and get scoops and take
Each
it
family
out?
was a little different. Most would keep it in a bag, though, and like you said, scoop it out.
All right. Candles. That was the craft of the night, right?
Yeah, and actually, you know what? This is one of the things. They would make a lot of candles, but they wouldn't use candles as much as we think of today.
No.
So, like when you watch old movies and stuff like that, and they've got 50 candles lit in a room, unless they are extravagantly wealthy, they're not doing that. Not a farm family, that's for sure.
Why candles took a long time to elaborate, or what?
They're a resource that you have to collect.
All right.
They're a pain in the butt to make, and you don't want to waste anything.
You don't want to waste.
No. So the white candles there, those ones are made out of tallow. So your beef fat, your sheep's fat. You can use pig fat if you want, lard. But the problem with that is you need to mix it with something, whether or not that's beef fat to a different ratio or something like that could be debatable. But pig fat tends to just kind of
fall?
Yeah, it just melts. So the beef fat takes a little bit longer. And then the yellow ones here, they are a much preferred candle. Those are beeswax. So they smell a little bit better when they're burning. And if you take a look at, all these candles have been lit before, and you look at all the yellow ones, they're nice and smooth, whereas the white ones, they're a big mess. They just burn that way.
What? So they're all, if they're not beeswax, they're from an animal's fat?
Yep.
So what kind of animal would these be, maybe?
More than likely, either a cow or a sheep.
So what was the best animal for wax?
I would say a cow or sheep, and it's debatable which one.
You've done this before, then?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We make them here all
Where
the
are you
time.
from, brother? May I ask?
Actually, the Ottawa Valley area.
You're from Ottawa Valley?
Yeah.
So Ottawa Valley would mean?
Do you know where Algonquin Park is?
More or less.
Yeah,
I know it's up north a little.
Yeah, up in that area. Yeah, that's where I'm from.
So it's not in wine land. The land where they make a lot of wine, Vineland.
Quite far from there. Yeah.
Alright, yeah.
Yeah, our area was mostly...
That's right by the border of Quebec, kind of.
Actually, yeah, we're not too far. It's about an hour's drive away from Quebec. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
and the main industry up there for a long time was forestry, because there's so many dense forests up there. Yeah, and actually that area is mostly Polish settlement. Actually, Polish in the one community, and then Irish in the other. But yeah.
If you want to buy a good acre of land, or 2, 3, 4, 5, and live like this, just buy a house, now invest in a good old sawmill, and live a fantasy life, which is basically off the grid, and do it and live like this all of a sudden. Is land cheap up there, Ontario and those areas?
Yeah, our area where I grew up is inexpensive compared to here. It's very inexpensive, but it's always been a bit of a tourist area. So it's still reasonable. If you go further north from that, though, it becomes very inexpensive. Yeah.
How much could you buy a good old 5 acres for up there? Maybe at a good
Ooh,
price.
That's a good question. I don't know offhand. I know for a house with an acre and a half where I'm from, $150,000 to $200,000. Not so bad. A little further north, you could probably get 3, 4, or 5 acres for that much.
Around here?
Oh.
1 acre?
1 acre around
But
here.
right off the outskirts of Kitchener or something.
Yeah.
In the country.
Oh, jeez, that'd be expensive. I can't even imagine. An acre outside of here.
Real estate's high around here.
Oh,
right?
yeah. I would guess you're looking at least 5. I don't really know, to be honest.
So sheep or cow? Did these people eat a lot of sheep meat?
No, not a ton of it. No.
No.
They mostly ate pork, actually.
Pork.
Yeah. So all German families in the area, including Pennsylvania Germans, love their dairy products.
Dairy.
Except for our family, apparently.
Okay.
So one source that we have for our family here is this book that was put together. And it includes a lot of different people writing down their memories about living in this area. And one of the people that contributed to this book is Louisa Schneider, who was a daughter that lived in this house during the time period that we're showing.
Right.
So when she was in her late 80s, she decided to sit down and write about her experiences. But because she's pretty far removed from the time that she's writing about,
Yeah.
there are certain details that we have to question. There's certain things that don't quite sound right. One of the ones that we have a hard time figuring out is that she says that their family did not eat or consume or drink any dairy products.
No?
None. They made them and they sold them, but they
Cheese and milk, none
and
of that
butter,
stuff.
none of it.
Huh.
Which is crazy because every other German family in the area, cheese, milk, butter, very, very important staples of their diet.
Yeah, yeah.
But according to Louisa, not this family, and we don't know.
That's weird.
Yeah, right? We don't know what to make
Like
of that.
Vikings or Northern
Oh, yeah.
European people,
You need
we
to-
love her. We don't get diarrhea because of milk. We love it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like generally speaking.
Oh, yeah.
Generally speaking.
But you know what? It's a great source. Like, you need protein, you need fat, you need all those things in your diet. Milk is a fantastic source of fat. It's just, it's there, right? It's easy. It can keep relatively well. Yeah, one of those things. But yeah, apparently this family not so much. So they did have cows, and they did apparently make cheese. They made butter. They made milk, cream, etc. But they didn't.
Would they milk them close up to the house, or were they way out yonder?
They'd probably do it in the barns, I'm guessing. They had their barns relatively close. One of them would have been kind of over towards Victoria Park there, just before the park. And the other one was just a little bit down the road here.
Are you able to be my tour guide through other places?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I don't know. Should I just leave this here? Is it safe, or better to bring it with us?
If it's not too heavy, I would just say bring it with you. No, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. So this area is the dining room.
Yeah, dining room, kitchen, all rolled into one. As they say, the kitchen is the heart of the home. Very much that.
The heart of the home.
Yeah, heart of the home. It's where everybody spends most of their time. If you're spending time in the house during the day, more than likely it's in this room.
Weaving.
Yeah, weaving, we have a special room for that upstairs.
All right.
That's the one exception. But, doing knitting or stitching and stuff like that, you might be doing it here. Excellent light in this room during certain times of day.
Do you have a hiding spot I could put this down here
Yeah,
while we wait? Because it is kind of heavy.
Yeah, no worries. Here. Put it behind the door here. And it's really well hidden. Just we can't forget where it is.
Yes. Would you be able to give me a tour of the basement? Just tell me the
sure.
stuff
Flush your head there.
I might not have known myself.